Well, hello there, good people. I know it's been a while since you heard my voice or seen my face, but you'll see enough of it this weekend. But first off, I want to say thank you to our fan base that is out there, that listens to us, that reads our blogs, that watches us on YouTube. You may have noticed I have been very inactive pretty much since October. Many of you guys have known that I did get married. And of course, the holidays came around, that posed a problem. But recently, and you'll see this really on the next real recording episodes that me and Justin do, you'll see that we're in somewhat of a different office, studio, whatever you want to call it. I call it my man cave because it's all of the above. Well, recently I bought a house, and we have been kind of doing some minor projects where I had to take time off from doing this stuff, entertainment, reviews, and all that to focus on my personal life. But now we are slowly getting back on track. So, why not kick off with reviewing this movie, which is called, and is on Hulu, it's a original film, No Exit. Now, I forgot how I came across this one. I believe it was a new release, and just perfect timing, I guess. Recently, it does seem like streaming movies, because of the pandemic, is another platform where great movies can pop up. And in this case, we have another great movie to talk about. There's some highlights. I don't think there's many lowlights to really complain about with this film. But, you know, is it going to win you an Oscar? Absolutely not. So let's get right into it. So we are talking about No Exit. And please, if you get time, check out Justin's blog on his review portion of the film. We both actually saw this in different times, different days, but nevertheless, he reviewed it as well. Now, the plot, first off, the movie is starring a very small cast, and they used the cast efficiently enough. The movie stars Havana Rose Liu, Danny Ramsey, David Rushdow, Dale Dickey, Myla Harris, and Dennis Haysbert. Hopefully I'm pronouncing everybody's name right. Now, the biggest name, in my opinion, is Dennis. You've probably seen him more times than you thought. You just didn't put a name to a face. But he's a real good actor. And, he continues that trend in this film as well. So, the movie's 95 minutes. And, like I said, it is on Hulu. Kind of a thriller. Now, in this film, you won't really need to think about much of anything. The movie makes it clear where they're going. There is one little hidden thing, and please, if you have not seen the film, or you're okay with spoilers, spoiler alert. So the movie starts off, we meet Darby Thorne. She is a recovering addict, or current in the process of recovering. She's at a rehab home, and she gets a call that her mom is sick and that's in the hospital. Now, she can't escape the rehab or make a phone call due to, I guess, the rules that she has to abide by, or whatever the case may be. But she can't use the phone. She manages to blackmail another person to get their phone, and finds out that she needs to travel to Salt Lake City to see her mom, who is deathly ill in the hospital. So it does seem like, these opening minutes, that obviously she is the black sheep of the family or something like that. Or I'm guessing because of her drug addiction issues that she probably caused problems in her day. So she manages to escape the rehab place, and she gets in her car and she hits the open road. Well, problem is, there is now a very, very bad Blizzard, and she kind of has her moment of maybe doing like a relapse to enjoy the high, and she like passes out a little bit. But a sheriff, gets her attention, and she just says, "Hey, I was just trying to take a nap," and he convinces her that the road is closed because the blizzard is bad, but there is a visiting center with a few other people in there, and she's welcome to stay there, but she can't go any farther. So she does, and that's where we meet the rest of the cast. You have Ash, Lars, Sandy, Jay, the kidnapped girl, Ed, that's waiting there. Right off the bat, Darby kind of gets, feeling it. It's just a weird feeling, and she goes out because everybody's saying there's a spot where she can get some a cell phone service so she can make her calls and go about her business. But it's brief. Well, out there she sees a van, and all of a sudden she sees a kidnapped girl in the back of the van. She says that she'll help the girl. Of course, she's the main character, so she's going to help the girl. No big deal. As we move on, she goes back inside, and boom, they play a game called Bullshit, where you basically it's like a card game. I wonder if it's a real one. I don't know. If somebody knows if this card game is a real game, please send me the link so I can look the rules up and play this game myself. But she quickly deduces that it is Lars that is the kidnapper. Now, as she's putting it together and everything else like that, she quickly learns that Lars is not alone. He actually has a partner, the more important one, Ash, who catches her off guard when she's still trying to help the girl. Okay, so around and around we go, and as they're trying to get help, now Ed and Sandy knows it, and it comes out an all-out war against, Darby, Sandy, Ed. Sandy and Ed are husband and wife. And, against Ash and Lars. They have the girl, and the twist comes. Now, we are all completely focused because the movie doesn't make you overthink. It doesn't give you no hidden twists or turns to a degree. While we now know, 35 minutes into the film, that Ash and Lars are the kidnappers, we are completely obvious to everybody else. The big climax of the film is when the girl wakes up because she has a disease where adrenaline, hurts her a little bit, Addison's disease, and she knows Sandy, which throws everybody that's watching this film a loophole, because it's like, wait a minute, what does Sandy have to do with it when, clear as day, we know Ed and Lars kidnapped the girl? The film actually reveals that Sandy, I guess, is like a part-time maid, because it's clear that she was a nurse, or maybe a full-time maid now, that she wasn't in on the kidnapping, but she kind of had it set up because she ran into some financial issues, and she basically lost, I guess, her retirement money or something like that for her and Ed, and I guess she knew people that was going to kidnap her. Well, what they really didn't know was the kidnappers, they work for basically trafficking people. So she is completely thrown off, and it becomes a shootout and blah, blah, blah. Long story short, Ed and Sandy both are killed. Now it's between Darby and the guys And it gets graphic at one scene. And that one scene basically is when Ash puts a nail with a nail gun through Darby's arm and basically nails her to the the wall. And you didn't really see like that type of graphics coming from this type of film. You thought it was like, oh, he's not going to do it or something's going to interrupt. No, he actually does it. It's pretty fucked up. But what makes it more crazy is so she has like a dime bag of Coke in her possession. Doesn't make it clear where she actually has that from the beginning to the end, but she has it. And the only thing she can think of to give her the adrenaline to take this nail out, which ironically enough, there's a hammer within like a leg shot of her, which she manages to get to help with Jay, through the help of Jay. She snorts her Coke and takes the hammer and pulls out the nail. It is honestly crazy watching her do this. But she manages to get free, and by accident in a shootout, Ash kills Lars, which he goes on a rampage and grabs the nail gun and just starts popping them off as they're trying to drive out, which he manages to do and gets her back. And of course the cops show up, ironically enough, and Darby, Ash is trying to convince the cop that she's bad. She gets out of the car with a gun, so the cop shoots her. Then Ash turns around and kills the cop with the nail gun still. I'm like, holy balls. So she's bleeding out, and just as Ash goes for like, I guess, a kill shot or a killing moment, she comes out of nowhere with a freaking screwdriver and puts it through his throat. In the end, her mom did die, which Ash had her phone and told her that she did die. She returns to the rehab place, and her sister comes and visits her in her meeting, and the movie ends like that. Now, like I said, this ain't no Oscar type of film, but there are a lot of great things that I appreciated about this movie. For starters, you're honestly looking at the quickness, the pace, the story. Some character development probably lacked a little bit, but because the pace was going, and this is not a thriller, it wasn't going to really make you think of who's who. It did give you a twist, and I did appreciate that little twist that you honestly did not see coming. In the end, I appreciate the pace. I appreciate that they didn't make so many twists and turns to where the story started to fail to make sense. There was a couple of kidnappers. They had a kid. They were going to hustle the kid off to sex trafficking thing and go about their business. The end. Perfect timing for everything. Well, because of that, and the plot was simple, I'm giving this a good solid B. Now, I'm staying away from saying an A or a S, just simply because could they have done some things better? Sure. Maybe focus a little bit more on the kidnapping guys a little bit. There were some boring moments, but once again, you don't look at those moments simply because the pace, but nevertheless, they were still there. So in the end, I'm giving it a B, and I do think it's a movie that you can enjoy on a Friday night, like tonight, Saturday, enjoy a weekend movie, and go from there. So definitely a B. And yeah, great, good movie. Very good for Hulu. I think the last movie me and Justin reviewed from Hulu was Friends Vacation or something like that with John Cena, and we all know Justin was not a fan of that, and it was brutal on me too. I definitely, sometimes you pick the winners, so you pick losers. This film was definitely a loser, so I mean, sorry, this film was definitely a winner, where Vacation Friends were definitely a loser. But nevertheless, I'm giving it a B. And tell me what you guys think after you guys watch it. Until next time, bye bye.